Hey guys, just want to take a minute and say thank you for checking out this episode of Bench Talk. Today's episode is with Nick Workman, and I think it is very transparent how much enthusiasm this young man brings to the table for serving his customers and clients. One of the things I was so impressed with in working with Nick was his ability to take my ideas as the customer and for him to go get the skill set needed in order to make what I wanted come true. I believe you will get a lot out of this episode. The stories that he tells of getting into the technology field are both funny and inspiring. This young man is fully immersing himself into starting his own company while he is still in high school. I hope you get a lot out of this. And if you do, my hope is that you will share it. So next up, Nick Workman, Bench Talk. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bench Talk here at Iron Maid Gym. My aim with this show is to introduce you to people who have demonstrated certain skills and attributes that inspire me to be a better person. My hope is that by listening to their journey, you will be inspired as well. Our guest today is Mr. Nick Workman. He is currently a senior at Springfield High School and has been our technical support consultant since 2017. He first began computer work at the age of 5. Nick also has done projects for The Simple Greek, an edible arrangements company, Church of the Rock, Iron Maid Gym, and residential consulting work. He is also a member of the Springfield Golf Team and participates in the Broadcasting and Media Club as well as Drama Club. Nick has recently fully immersed himself into launching the Quick Geek LLC. Welcome to Bench Talk, Mr. Nick Workman.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Absolutely. So let's start with maybe the easiest question. What got you into computers?
Well, I think it was Christmas when I was 4. I asked for my first computer, and I got one. I don't know what was wrong with my parents, but ever since then, I've just always been into them, and I started actually helping my kindergarten teacher fix her computers when I was in kindergarten. That's kind of what got that started.
At the age of 5, guys.
Yeah.
That's great. So how did your journey from that evolve into starting your own company?
So, as I said, how technology has always been a part of me. I remember I used to tear apart my parents' computers when they weren't home and then try to put them back together before they got home. That's kind of how I learned how that
Did
works.
you ever end up with spare parts?
Occasionally there'd be a couple extra screws, kind of like IKEA furniture, but it all usually ended up okay. But looking back then, not in a million years would I think I would end up making an actual career out of it, more of just a hobby. But I went through elementary, middle school, and the first part of high school is it just being a hobby. I would help the occasional teacher or person from my church with their computer, and it was never anything real big, family members, whatever. And it was the spring of my sophomore year, and I began starting to take on different computer type jobs. Actually, the first one was Iron Maid's website. So around the same time that I met you, Kevin, after I helped you launch your website, I was asked by a longtime friend from church, his name's Sean, to assist him with a few computer issues him and his business partner Ron Taylor were having at their newly opened franchise, The Simple Greek. I took that offer and have continued working for them on a regular basis ever since, managing their IT and some media-related projects for their 2 Simple Greek stores and their 8 edible arrangements.
That's no small task. That's very impressive. Did you find that very challenging as one of your first, I'd say, big jobs?
It definitely was. There was definitely a lot of occasions where, they would come to me with an idea they had, and I would look at them and go, okay, give me a few days and I'll see if I can figure this out. And it probably was within the first, 2, 3, 4 months of working with them that Sean started to push this idea on me that maybe I could turn what I do into an actual business instead of just doing a couple side things here and there. And, for a while, I think I kind of just blew that idea off because I thought I was too young or that I was, not good enough to do that because I've never gone to schooling for it. I've kind of just learned from doing, like I said before. And it was about 6 months ago that, God really started putting on my heart, Nick, there's something more here. And I really started praying about it. And, the more I talked to different business people in the area and the more side jobs I had taken on, I finally decided that it was time to give it a try, which is where Sean's business partner comes in, Ron Taylor, and he helped me immensely getting my business up and running, as he had started many LLCs, as each of his restaurants have one. And he was able to walk me through that process, walk me through the process of getting insured and all the paperwork side of stuff that people don't see when they see a business starting. They see the grand opening, the big part of it. He was able to walk me through all that little stuff.
That's great. So it sounded like you started out with not only a good company, but good leadership and good mentors.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So let's jump into our first interaction. And I'm very curious about your response on this because I want to hear your side of the story. So we have a mutual friend, Noah Ekman. He personal trains here. He's been one of our clients for a couple years now. Great guy. And you guys were in 11th grade. And I had been just talking randomly about website and stuff with him. And he's like, oh, I have a friend that can probably do that for you. And I specifically remember telling him after a probably 15-minute conversation of what you could actually do, I said, I'll meet with him and he has 5 to 10 minutes to knock my socks off. And then that's it. And we'll go from there. And did he ever tell you that?
I had never heard that part of the story. That's why I'm saying, all right, that's hilarious.
So Nick comes into my office with a probably 3 or 4 page of PowerPoints printed out of like this complete demo of what he viewed the vision of what Iron Maid website could be. And to say the least, I was completely blown away. It was like somebody knocking a first interview out of the park. Not only that, but after I was impressed with that, I talked to him about, hey, here's what's been frustrating me all day. I spent 2 hours on trying to incorporate my Instagram business with my Facebook business page. And we were also working on getting Google Maps set up with Iron Maid Gym. And I'd spent 2 hours on that day, and you figured that out in less than 8 minutes. And I knew it was going to be a good smooth sailing from then on.
So my side of the story is Noah just came to me and said, hey, you know that gym that I go to? I'm like, yeah, I know that gym that you go to. Well, he wants a website. And I told him, you know how to make a website. Well, the funniest part of the story is I had never made a website in my life.
Oh my gosh. The truth be told.
I had played around with website makers, but actually launching one that was on the internet for everybody to see, never had done it in my life. So I spent probably a good 8 hours a day just coming up with these ideas and searching and researching, and that's kind of how I came up with that PowerPoint.
That's fantastic. And I love every part of that story. And from that, some of the things you've been able to help with me since was obviously we launched ironmaidgym.com. We got the Instagram and the Facebook linked together. We've done ads. We also shot a 1-minute commercial here. It was dubbed The Family of Unique Individuals. We also added a prayer tab to our website, which a couple people have taken advantage of. We also did a Snapchat filter. That was the first, I think, 2 weeks of summer break for college kids and high school kids to use. That turned out great. We had a good response with that. So thank you for all of that stuff. That was awesome. So let's talk about how is your faith mixed with your business?
So my faith has played a huge role in my business. Like I said earlier, it truly was the drive. I had these people in my life trying to drive me towards opening a business, but it was the backbone of that. Like normal people, I kind of blew off the idea of starting a business. But when you feel the Holy Spirit coming to you and saying, hey, you need to do this, it's a little bit harder to say no than saying no to your friends. So, and another part of how my faith has played such a big role in my business is through my church. At Church of the Rock, I've been volunteering there in their AV, the production stuff every week. since I was a sophomore as well. That I started that at the beginning of my sophomore year, I think. And I mean, it's just been amazing, the doors that place has been able to open for me with the people I've met. You know, I've noticed that our church has a lot of entrepreneurial people in there, a lot of business owners, and you know, it's been great to get to work with them, not only with their business, but learn from them with their faith. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things that you introduced me to was you do the newsletter for your church.
Right. Yeah.
And that's something that we actually implemented probably 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've gotten a pretty good response out of that also. But that's great that you not only get to do work at where you go to church, but those two things get to mingle very well, it seems. And that's great because you have to have a good relationship with not only the people you work with, but your church members also, because that's a good networking thing also. Because you said there's a lot of business people there, people like-minded and whatnot. So that's good you have those relationships to begin with.
Right, absolutely.
So what books have you read or leaders do you follow that have influenced you a lot?
So one of the biggest influencers that I would say have kind of shaped how I look at business would be Gary Vaynerchuk. I've read mostly all of his books. My favorite one's Crushing It. I mean, the guy's opinion on life in general is just amazing. That, you know, it's really changed my perspective on how, you know, I live. I remember last summer I would wake up at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I started listening to this guy, and, you know, I look at Kevin's Snapchat story every morning, and it's like 5 o'clock. Like, he sent me an email at 4:30 a.m. this morning.
Got to get it done, man.
But, I mean, it's really just driven that kind of mindset on business has really changed, you know, how I work. And, you know, now I get up around 7 every morning, which still isn't super early, but, you know, and the gratitude is the biggest key to business. So
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, you and I have talked about Gary Vee before. We both love his content. We both disagree on his choice of verbiage sometimes.
Yeah.
He's a very profane man, so to speak, but he's very transparent. I think that's one of the biggest things that draws business people to him, because he addresses complaining. How it's a complete waste of time.
Right.
And doing work, earning it. And if you're not earning it, then taking a look at your life and put it this way: if you're disappointed in what you're getting, look at what you're giving.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing that you and I have talked about, and one of the things we've learned from Gary Vee.
I think another thing from him is the fact that money cannot be what drives your business. Man. I mean, it's crazy. I think too many people think money has to be what they're working for. And I mean, I have kind of turned my point of view to that I'm working for the legacy of whatever this creates for me. I mean,
yeah. And I think that's where, like you said, the gratitude aspect comes in play.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Completely agree. So you just publicly launched your company. What is your next goal?
So obviously is to grow my company, get the name out as much as I can, network as much as I can, but we're also working on a little bit of a secretive project right now of a new service that we're going to be offering within the next month or so. I'll kind of give a little hint. It deals with photos and deals with booths. So if you can put 2 and 2 together.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely, hopefully. It's going to be a cool project. Can't wait for you guys to see it. We do have a first event lined up, so you guys will start seeing some information on that soon.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. So before I ask the last question, where can these guys find you online?
They can find us at thequickgeek.com or Facebook/thequickgeek. We got tons of resources there on what services we offer. We offer just about everything when it comes to technology, whether it be your media services with web design, social media content design, as in Facebook ads, the Snapchat filters like Kevin was talking about, to home computer repair or small business repair, or even just helping you figure out which computer is best for you. I think I see too many times that there's businesses in this field that take advantage of the consumer. And our mission is to not do that, to do the opposite, to help you. Even if we don't make the most money doing it, I'm going to feel better knowing that we did right by the consumer.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there you have it, the Quick Geek LLC founder, Mr. Nick Workman. So the last question is, how do you define success?
Ooh, okay. So success to me is being able to make a good reputation for yourself, and that you've got to be able to leave a good legacy. If you have a good legacy, you're successful. It's not, like I said, it's not about how much money you made.
Great point. Well, Nick, thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for all the work that you do for Iron Maid, but also for the community. Thanks for decreasing my headaches on many occasions, and above all, serving others with joy and gratitude. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There we have it, guys. So check out our next podcast. We'll be publishing soon.